Welcome to this session. In the last class, we looked at HMT watches. Why HMT watches became a failure in the present liberalized context? We looked at the causes. Now, we look at one more case where a company's strategy has been extremely successful and it is giving the company a distinctive competence in the marketplace. Okay. It is holding on for years. The company I am talking of is Gillette India. So, Gillette India is the case which I want to present to you. So, this is you are seeing some well known cricketer advertising the product here. Now, started off as a razor company in 1952 in US. It was known as the American Safety Razor Company initially, then became the Gillette Company. So, if you look at how it moved, all these cases are available to you in the case studies book. You have many more cases also. So, if you look at how it has gone, after success in the US, King Gillette expanded the company to UK, Denmark, Italy and Canada by 1920. Gillette expanded ballpoint product line with a razor mate in 79, acquired Oral-B Labs Inc. in 84, acquired Waterman in 87, launched Sensor XL in 92 and then its stationery division of the Parker Pen Holdings. So, if you really see, the company has moved to that level. Then if you look at product evolution, so back in 1944 itself, it introduced razors for ladies, then paper mate acquisition in 1952, right guard in 1960, then manufactured hypodermic needles in 1962. If you look at this razor, this thing, the shaving cream came in 1940, stainless steel razor in 1965, acquired Braun AG in 1967, acquired 48% stake in SE DuPont in 1971. So many global competitors for Gillette, Wilkinson, Panasonic, Kodak Maxwell, all those types of things. If you look at the type of strategies and vision this company has, looks for diversification, looks for high profit margin, looks for implementation of employee metrics, that is the stability side. Then growth is with respect to branding, R&D and compete in growing global categories. So, it is not afraid of taking global competition. This is a difference that you find with respect to our Indian companies, especially the PSUs. They are all, many times when you talk to them, they are hesitant to take on the competition? Oh, the question that generally is asked is, should we be made to compete? What could be the answer for that? Unless and until you compete in this market, you will not know, that is, you will not know where your product stands with respect to the other competing products. So, back to the 70s, if you really saw that 70s, India had only 2 automobiles. You either had the Ambassador car or the Premier Padmini. I remember, if you drove the Premier Padmini in the 70s or the late 60s to 70s down, in a city like Bangalore, there would hardly be few cars going near the corporation. So, there is hardly few people using cars, and in fact, at that point of time the police constable used to greet every car owner. So, normally some few cars used to pass him. So, no traffic lights, nothing and all that. He used to do a salute to each car owner who passes him. So, now what is the type of situation that you are having in 2020? You see large number of automotives. Now, you do not see the Premier Padmini, you do not see the Ambassador car at all in the roads of Bangalore. Where are they? Not able to adapt to this competition. So, competition helps you to find for yourself where your product is in the competitive market. So, where does it stand vis-a-vis the competitors? So, is it able to take on competition, or is it not able to withstand this competition? So, many of these companies not able to withstand, gone. So, in fact, Premier Padmini at that point of time was a good car, Fiat, but now not on the radar. You get so many these things. Now, come back to Gillette, its strategy in India. I am spending some time on all this because this is how strategy is really delineated at different levels in a company and in a successful company. So, our Indian companies should also be following these things. There is no point in shying away from all this. So, you have to take the competition head on and you have to become successful. No point in saying that no, I will not take on competition. If you do not take on competition, that is Indian companies, it becomes a what do you call frog in the well type of policy. For the frog, the well in which it is or it was, it is the world, not really so. Okay. So, similarly, when you look to competition, you find only the deserving companies will stand up in the marketplace. All the other categories will go away. So, you cannot have a reservation in competition, that is not possible, that the product is coming from a developing country, all those types, it is not going to work. Okay. So, many times these questions are asked. So, many times a question that was being asked to me is, how is that Indians are able to do well, so well in the US, so many Indians who have gone there, but unfortunately not so well when in India. What is the real this thing? So, the real catalyst there is the environment. the environment which gives them all that prop. Okay. So, you deserve this and you are there here. So, you find so many CEOs of so many companies being Indians who have moved in 70s, their parents have moved in 60s, 70s, and many of them have occupied this or occupying these positions, their children. Focused on branding price lines, branding across price lines, brand coverage, develop multiple products under the company brand umbrella. Focus on volume sales in India. So, here was a huge market, the company focused on volume sales. The core sector was toilet preparations, follow hefty ad spend policy, longest standing corporate sponsor for FIFA World Cup football. So, there is one more product which is coming out from Gillette, that is called a disposable razor Presto. Now, if you do a SWOT analysis for this company Gillette, under the strengths you can put it as a market leader with a strong brand image, aggressive advertising, quality and innovation, and portfolio range. So, a range of products coming out from the company. Then the consumer brand, the demand for high quality, new production technology, expansion of production and distribution coming under opportunities. Under weaknesses, you have the long development cycles. Many times you test the product over and over again before you introduce into the market. So, the second one being the relatively static market growth rate. Not always true, but in some sections yes. High costs of products, expensive brand maintenance. So, these are some things which you have to put up in the competitive market. You can't just shy away from spending on branding. Okay. Then in the threats, new competitors, increasing buying power, then the growth in substitutes, electric shaving technology, economic downturn. So, this is affecting even a company like Gillette, this economic downturn. Okay. So, many countries where its products are being sought after, many of them are seeing economic upheavals. Okay. So, we see so many upheavals, economic upheavals in India's neighbors also now. Now, if you do a product market portfolio for Gillette's products, the market growth on the y axis, the relative market share on the x axis. So, if you do that, you are likely to see where the company finds itself in. So, blades and razors, it is almost into the, if you see some of these things, you have Duracell giving a tough competition with respect to batteries for them, the Oral-B with respect to the toothpaste or the dental segment, the toiletries, and you had the Braun, Gillette acquired the Braun. Okay. So, these are some of the things which are happening in the marketplace. If you look at the ratios, how it is, I have deliberately stopped at 2008. So, in the earlier HMT case we stopped at 2006 only. Those who are interested, you can find out what is happening in 2022, where are the figures standing, but you may not get any reliable figures for HMT in 2022. So, when you looked at when you look at Gillette, you are likely to get the figures. We moved up to 2008 here. Why this moving up to 2008 and stopping there? So, when you start comparing the present with the some 10-12 years backwards, you will see what is the type of remarkable changes the company has made. So, if you really see how the return on percentage, capital empowered, per share, net earnings, how it has grown, the working capital, net fixed assets, all those things you can see. And if you see the revenue and operating income, how are the growth trends from 1993 to 2003, it is plotted, shown there. So, Procter and Gamble acquired Gillette in 2004 for $57 billion. The Shave India movement was a resounding success. Match 3 awareness usage had increased mostly among urban males. So, if you look at the retail sales in India up to 2011, figures are given here. And if you see how the growth is, if you just see, it is growing in billions of dollars right from 2004 down to 2011. Now, contrast it with a company like HMT, a very good product, a very good collaborator in Citizen, and a very strong support base from the government, and operating, in fact, was the first Indian public sector to face competition in the lathe segment from the 60s only. But now you find that this watch segment not able to adapt. Now, not even that, the lathe segment is also not able to adapt to this liberalized scenario. So, this is what really characterizes the market, the competitive market which you are seeing. So, earlier you used to find that people used to, youngsters want to get into government jobs. Now, what is the trend that you are seeing? If you are an enterprising youngster, a youth, the present day Indian would like to come up on his own instead of going for a job, start a small scale unit, move up the ladder, try his luck there. So, the urge for becoming an entrepreneur you are seeing in the present day Indian youth. They want to become entrepreneurs, and that is good for the country also. So, if you become an entrepreneur, you can contribute in your own way to the GDP of the country. So, look at Gillette India, market shares by percent retail value for men's grooming 2007 to 10. If you look at it, in 2010 it has already cornered nearly 32% of the market share in India. So, it is a huge percentage. So, then they introduced this women's razors, called it Gillette Venus, all those types of things. So, not very successful, but they have made a presence there. Okay. So, battery business was not profitable for them. The result was they took a decision to sell the Duracell plant in Manesar in 2002 only. So, then what happened? it was acquired by Procter and Gamble in 2004. Then what now? What is this thing which you are seeing in the present day setup? Though acquired, it is still lagging behind Unilever and Colgate Palmolive. So, if you see, recession buffeted Gillette's core businesses, that is the pricey razors and blades. So, Procter and Gamble's stock came down from 12 to 8%, Colgate Palmolive went up to 53% in the market, okay. Then Unilever up to 36%. So, now you can, why stop here? You look at how it was in 2010, now look at what it is now. Even to this day, Gillette's Mash 3 is a market leader, again a market leader in 2021-22 also. So, this is an example of a case where a company successfully adapted itself to changing markets. So, in the case of HMT, this adapting to change was found wanting. In the case of Gillette, this change was welcomed by the company. Okay. It said we will be in competition, we would like to compete right from the beginning. This is what our Indian companies also have got to do in this present day scenario. This is where strategy becomes very important. And when you look at strategies in the marketplace, you should also have alternative strategies. So, if strategy 1 fails, push in a strategy number 2, then keep a backup of 1 or 2 more strategies. So, it is possible with these backups you will succeed in the marketplace. So, this book on case studies in marketing gives you so many cases, and those of you who are interested can try to solve these cases in the way we have discussed. Go to these cases are listed under different heads. One with part 1 deals with marketing. It looks at HMT as case number 1, machine tools division, again not able to adapt to change. Then in this section itself you find there are nearly 11 cases in marketing. Then when taken to international marketing, if you really see, you are having from case number 12 down to case number 19, that is 8 cases in international marketing. Gillette India comes in page number 161. So, page number 161 gives you the information about Gillette India. So, when it got started, if you look at page number 165, it gives you the glimpse of Gillette India. Started on 9th February 84 at Rajasthan as razor blades and shaving systems, jointly promoted by the House of Podar. Gillette Company USA had owned 24% equity capital. Now it is called Gillette India, headed by Podar as chairman, and all these other details are given down there. If you look at the sales figures, up to June 16, the net sales revenues was 1959.6 crores and profits at 213.03 crores. What is it that the company followed as strategy? Create superior value of consumers and shareholders, win the consumer value equation at the 0, first and second moments of truth. These are some things which you should know. What is this moments of truth in the marketing terminology? So, if you read this book and this case, you will get to know all these things. Play across consumer and customer segments, premium and mid, modern retail and high frequency store. Invest in expanding category penetration and consumption. Drive out all costs that do not deliver superior consumer or customer value. Focus, inspire and unleash a winning organization of passionate people performing at the peak. Up to June 16, the financials are given in the case. So, you can update it further also, find out where it comes right now. Now, part 3 deals with services marketing. It gives you so many cases. It gives you a failed private airline experience of East West Airlines. It also gives you a case of Indian airline industry, the new one. You designate that, whether it is the Vistara, when they wanted to start this new airline. So, the question that is asked is, will the flight be smooth? So, this Vistara is holding on in the present day setup also. So, this is where we will stop here. We go back. Now, we looked at 2 cases. One case, a successful one, able to adapt to the market changes. The other case, not able to adapt to the market changes. So, you can yourself analyze many of these cases, taking these cases from this case studies book. Try to answer those questions. When you answer those questions, you can yourself write the answers for the questions that are asked at the end of the case. Suppose they have not asked you a question there, what you can do is you can see whether you can yourself frame questions, that is also possible. So, that is one more thing which you should do. For example, if you really look at the type of Gillette India, how the questions are asked and what is the type of answers that are developed. See, if you see here, these are some of the questions that are asked. Question: to what extent the strategy adopted by Gillette India is different from Gillette Global? Is this strategy sustainable in the long run? So, it gives you an answer taking from Gillette India's global strategy is similar to that of Gillette World, which follows concentrating on market share and launching new products. It gives you a history, what all we discussed. So, and it tells you whether it is having the sharp edge, and you find that it is having the sharp edge with respect to the market. Then the second question that is asked is, what are the main reasons for Gillette's turnaround in India? How did it turn? So, in 2001 it incurred a loss of 27.79 crores. In 2002 made a profit of 6.46. Now it is in the profit zone only. So, how it has really done, it is given there. Okay. So, this Word document which gives you, then similarly draw out the relative position of Gillette vis-a-vis the competitors using appropriate mapping techniques. So, one of the things which is taken here is the operating income growth, that is percentage CAGR, then revenue growth percentage CAGR, and this graph gives you an idea of what is happening in respect to the market. Do you think vertical integration strategies are suitable to Gillette India? And questions are asked, why should you vertically integrate? The market is too risky and unreliable, it fails. Company in adjacent stages of the industry chain have more market power than companies in your stage. Integration would create or exploit market power by raising barriers to entry and allowing price discrimination across customer segment. The market is young and the company must forward integrate to develop a market, or the market is declining and independents are pulling out of adjacent stages. So, this is the type of response that you should give for the questions in a case. So, you should exercise, and it is a real good exercise to handle a real life case, that is factual cases. So, did the company adopt the right strategy? If we did not adopt the right strategy, what could have been done? All this goes into what I told you in the previous sessions, the knowledge bank, where it went wrong or where it was successful. So, that could be a great learning experience for the future persons who come into the organization. They can see how they should perform in these changing markets. Okay, we will stop here, we will continue in the next class. Thank you.